Hey guys, just a heads up that this video isn't exactly tips for getting better at Baldi's basics. It's just a bunch of shit that I found a while back and I thought it would make an interesting video. However, some of these tips and tricks can make you slightly better at the game, but some of these don't work in the latest versions of the games as they've either been patched or yeah. Luckily for you, however, there's a download link in the description to each version of Baldi's Basics Classic, ranging from 1.0 to 1.4.3. Only for Windows, sadly, but you can try out a bunch of these tricks for yourself. And of course, I can't put a link in the description to every version of Baldi's Basics Plus because the reason is obvious, but if you have the game on Steam, I do have a way of downloading older versions from there. I made a short a while back. Check the link in the description for that, or the iCard in the corner, if that even exists anymore. I think it does. I hope the tips and tricks provided here can be useful, and yeah, enjoy.
Wow!
Prior to Classic 1.4.3, the principal's keys can be used on any standard door, even if it was unlocked for some reason. And if you were to use the item on a door, it would open, but when it opens, it doesn't alert Baldi to your location. This still works in 1.4.3 if you use the keys on the office door. Technically, it comes in handy as a secondary no-squee, except the door makes noise. The principal's office can actually be used as a hiding spot since no NPC can wander into there randomly. You can either no-squee the door to get in or use the keys glitch from before, as long as you're on the correct version of the game. And if you're in version 1.0, you can actually hide behind these globes. You can also do this in rooms with a ton of desks inside of them as well. As many of you may know, prior to 1.2.2, the B-Soda actually didn't work properly. But in my one video, I actually showed it and it was working just fine. Or mostly fine. This is because beforehand, I actually capped the game's frame rate at 30 FPS, because if you do that, it actually allows the B-Soda to work as intended. There are some issues that come with this though, like the You Can Think pad taking forever to close, and characters getting stuck in hallways. That can actually be helpful though. I also forgot to mention that in 1.0, if you cap your game's frame rate to 30 FPS, it fixes the inconsistent camera movement. And this also works in the full game public demo, if you haven't noticed that issue before. You can actually cap it at 60 FPS in the full game public demo, and it'll work just fine. Speaking of B-Soda, do not ever use a B-Soda while being pushed by First Prize in Classic. There's basically nothing you can do to get yourself out of that situation. Here's how all of this works in code. If First Prize is moving at a speed of 5 or higher, his script will allow him to be able to hug the player. And whenever he's being pushed by a B-Soda, First Prize's speed usually lays consistent at around 20, which is obviously higher than the minimum required speed to hug. And if he's already hugging the player, you'll just get stuck to him, at least until he hits a wall. Here's a well-known trick. Prior to 1.4, if playtime is about to bump into you for the jump rope minigame, quickly run to the nearest class or faculty door, open it, and stand in the middle of the doorway. Once she runs into you, wait for the door to close, and it'll force the minigame to end. This is because if the game detects that the player is moving by a force, like Gotta Sweep or First Prize, during the jump rope game, it'll force it to end. In 1.0, if you move diagonally along a hallway, your movement speed becomes very fast, and sprinting obviously makes you a lot faster. If you've got a great distance from the bully and he's been active for at least 3 minutes, or just 1 minute prior to 1.2, he'll actually despawn, despite not indicating so. Unlike in Baldi's Basics Plus, where he says, "I'm bored." This tip is small, but I feel like it's worth noting. After collecting the 7th notebook, once the You Can Think pad closes, immediately pause the game and let the
Congratulations! You found all 7 notebooks!
line play, and then afterwards unpause. This just allows you to hear Baldi clearly, for less stress, I guess. Repeatedly clicking on a door will allow you to hold it open, but unfortunately every click alerts Baldi. After you no-squeeze a door, doing the same thing will literally just decrease the amount of times the door can open again before the sound comes back, making that no-squeeze completely pointless if you want to hold the door open. Prior to 1.4, you are for whatever reason able to open swing doors through walls by just running into a wall with a swing door next to it. This can be useful for distracting Baldi in some sort of way. Prior to 1.2.2, the long hallway on the west side of the schoolhouse is actually a bit longer and even has extra lockers at the end of it. I'm not sure why it was so long in the first place, but either way, interesting. Several items have had name changes throughout the history of Baldi's Basics, the tape being one of them, with the most amount of name changes. In 1.0, it was simply called Tape. In 1.1, the name was changed to Baldi Anti-Hearing Tape. And the Mirahese wiki says it was renamed to Baldi Anti-Hearing and Disorienting, but I looked through the code and that's just not true at all, so the text box was likely just cut off, but 1.2 was the version it was renamed to Baldi Anti-Hearing and Disorienting Tape. And finally, in the full game public demo, it was renamed to Baldi's Least Favorite Tape, which is the name we have now. Let me just list a few more. The yellow door lock was renamed to swinging door lock. WD No Squee door type was renamed to just WD No Squee. The energy flavored Zesty Bar had one minor name change. The F in flavored was changed to an uppercase F. Regardless of what game it is, there's gotta be a typo somewhere, right? One that I always notice, and one you saw in Fact 5, in the B Soda Spray script, spray is misspelled as sparry. In Baldi's Basics Plus, fluorescent light.png is spelled horribly wrong, as well as this other texture, diamond plate floor, diamond plate floor? I don't know how that one happened. In placeholder underscore ceiling.png, ceiling is misspelled as selling? I don't know. In the credit screen for Classic on this line, originally is misspelled as originally. I don't even know why I'm bothering pronouncing these. On Baldi's office poster in Classic, incredible is misspelled as incredible, but this was likely due to not having enough space to write everything down. In the Baldi's Basics field trip demo, the pause screen actually says it's pursued. And in all honesty, none of these misspellings even matter. I just think they're funny. There's an exploit that allows you to collect items at very far distances. And I'm pretty sure this only works if 2 items are in a single room, by the way. If you're in the clicking range of an item, but farther away from the other one, you can actually pick up the farther one without having to move.
Wow!
After hiding in a locker, while Baldi says,
I know you're in there.
you can actually switch between multiple blue lockers, causing Baldi to repeatedly stop and say the line over and over. I don't know if there's an advantage to this, but it's funny to be honest. Speaking of lockers, if you enter a locker right before Baldi at the start says,
Oh, hi.
you can actually trigger the countdown sequence early. This has been a thing since 0.1, where if you enter a locker, he'll just immediately spawn. As of 0.5, if you shoot 2 B sodas at around the same time, both will push each other and move extremely fast for a second. This can be helpful, but it's likely a bug with how entity collision works. The same happens with nanopeels. If you open a door and then open another one afterward, go into the room connected to the first door you opened and Baldi will head towards the second room, because he usually wanders towards the last sound the player made. This only works if he's out of sight and can be very useful. If you forgot the last seed you played, just go to run by pressing Windows key plus R. Type in app data, hit enter, go to local low, basically games, without the comma or the exclamation mark, Baldi's Basics Plus, and then open the player.log file. And then near the bottom it should show the latest seed you played. Prior to 0.4, modifying the level generation can result in, things like this. Yeah. I've actually shown something like this on my channel before. I'll link those videos in the description. In 0.6.1, Mistman accidentally deleted the shader that renders whirlpools, resulting in said whirlpools being replaced by a quote-unquote magical teleporting elixir. The camping field trip hub actually has a bunch of rocks in one of the corners, but if you use Unity Explorer to move the camera, these rocks actually spill out 99. The bully also has a hidden tree sprite on the end of the map, likely as a callback to his mechanic in the original field trip demo. And we all know what happened that one time. In 0.4, in this specific classroom, if you were running against a desk that's tilted a little bit, you actually could sink into the ground and go underneath the map. At least for a little bit. I don't know if it was permanent. I don't exactly know how this one works, but if Baldi's moving really fast and he sees you go into a room, the dirty chalk eraser can actually be a lifesaver. If you're hiding in one of the corners and Baldi thinks he knows where you are, he will practically touch you, but he won't kill you. I don't know how that happens, but you have to be extremely lucky. Alright, well that's enough tips, tricks, and facts that I can think of which aren't really that well known. Some of these aren't even on the Mirrorhees wiki, but it would be nice to see them added on there. Speaking of wiki, link in description, don't use fandom, like and subscribe, okay, thanks, bye.